How's it going, friends? It's the Violet Citizen here, and today we'll be treating ourselves to a bit of a draft analysis of my squad for season 2 of the meme. Before we do that, let's just quickly recap what happened in season 1. I drafted a quad weather team, as you can see right here. It did pretty alright. At some point it even challenged for the title, but we ended up being 5th in the league with a positive record, positive differential, like positive experience overall. It was pretty nice, and yeah, I think that's all I want to say about the previous season, because the past is the past, and now it's the future, old man. So that's not how you say the reference that you want to say, but whatever. I drafted a team. I was in a really nice mid-draft spot that didn't really allow me to get any nice synergetic kind of combinations of mons, but we'll see how it goes, and we'll see what we did. So yeah, again, the pricing for the Pokemon is what it is. It's basically a PPL kind of style of draft, in which you're given like 110 points and you're free to get one meme pick. Meme picks being mons that are not really good by the Pokemon community conventions, so that they are priced at 1. And another cool rule that has been introduced in this season is that not everyone can use Z moves. The only ones eligible for Z moves are going to be the ones who are priced lower than 6. So on here, everything from Absol and going down to, I don't know, whatever, everything else is going to be eligible for Z moves, offensive, supporting, whatever. And yeah, let's just go and see what I drafted. So let me bring up the showdown thing. I might have some cool graphics going on. I'm currently working on them. I don't know if I'm going to be editing them in or have the patience to do the whole thing, but yeah. On my first pick, I decided to go with Clefable, because I don't know, Clefable, I feel like it's kind of underrated in Gen 7. There's a lot of cool new fairies to play around, and Clefable is still really, really good. Like, the stats don't really showcase it, but it has really good abilities. Like, Q-Charm is probably not the one that you'd go for. Probably Magic Garden and Aware are going to be the options that I'm going to be running, but maybe I don't know, if Q-Charm is within the laws of the league, maybe I'll try to run it once or twice, or like every game. I don't know. But the thing is, Clefable has really good recovery, really good move pool, really good typing. Like, Just Fairy is fantastic. It can set up pretty much any way. It can Calm Mind, it can Belly Drum if I want to. I think it gets... Does it get Amnesia? Yes, it does get Amnesia. It gets Cosmic Power, it gets all kinds of nice stuff. Sadly, I cannot use any Z moves with it, because that's the rules. But yeah, I think for a really nice price of, I think, 17? Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me see. Yeah, I got it for 17 points, which I thought was a pretty good bargain. By the way, you can see my beautiful team page. So yeah, like, my first option was probably going to be Celesteela, but Celesteela was drafted round 1, like number 1 pick. So that's a thing that happened. So I decided to go with Clefable. Then people picked stuff. I kind of wanted to go with Scissor, but whatever. I figured that I kind of want to try Latios as my second pick, as I've only used it like for a couple of weeks in the CCL, and it didn't really perform all that well. I was debating between Latias and Latios, and maybe even Mega Latios, but it was I think it was sniped by Evelyn again, so there's a bit of interlacing draft plans, not really, but whatever. Yeah, Latios is just really nice dragon type. It gives me, you know, some nice immunities. It gives me some nice resistances. It gives me a really potent special attacker. Let's just go into the thing and see what it can do. It kind of drops Drakers. It defogs. It calm minds. It has options. It can go physical. It will probably go special most of the time. It can memento into things that might want to set up. It has screens. If I need to be defensive, it can do quite a few things. Hopefully, well enough to justify its price, which is 17. And actually, I agree with this price. It's very useful, very versatile, very nice. So, moving on, I figured that Magnezone was only costing me 10 points, which, in my opinion, it's disgustingly cheap for what it offers. It is a very, very potent special attacker. It has really good bulk. It has a really good typing, both offensively and defensively. The quad weakness to ground is kind of mitigated by Latios, and I think it synergizes pretty. Actually, it forms like this fairy dragon steel core that everybody is going on about. I didn't really draft it intentionally like that, but hey, it worked out. Gives me some momentum in Volt Switch. It can be. It can use 30. It can use Magnipole. It can use Analytic. All of its abilities are pretty useful in like trapping, being clutch, also being clutch, and things like that. It doesn't have the most expansive of move pools, but I think it's really good at what it does. And for 10 points, I think it's really a steal. Get it? Because steal and steal. Yeah. Moving on. I was kind of looking for underpriced stuff at this moment, so I figured that Keldeo at 15 would be a pretty good pick, as it kind of, you know, it gives me a really good water type that is offensive as well. It gives me a really nice fighting type, which is again very offensive and specially offensive, which is really useful for a fighting type. You don't really see many of those going around, and you know, you can give it a bit of a specs, a bit of a scarf, a bit of a different item. Like you can run sub Calm Mind if you want. Gets Aquajet. I think it gets SD. Yes, it does get SD. Has a pretty nice move pool. Obviously, it's probably going to be a special attacker most of the time, but it has options for what it is, and it has some roles that it kind of feels really, really well. Not like nothing wants to take a Focus Blast, or even like a Sword, a secret one, or a sacred one. Depending on the matchup, it's going to hurt. Hydro Pump is going to do a lot of damage to a lot of things. So yeah. Moving on, I was kind of debating between I was thinking about getting Delmise possibly, but then I ended up getting Ferrothorn because it's a really good utility one in a way. It has a really good physical attack, which I kind of lacked with my first couple of picks. Most of my team is like very specially oriented, whatever. It basically hits more on the special spectrum. So Ferrothorn is a physical attacker. It has amazing bulk, a really, really good typing. Again, I'm going with a quad weakness kind of theme, which I tend to enjoy in leagues. Yeah, it gives me a lot of hazard stacking potential. It gives me pretty much a switch into anything that is not a strong fire type, or maybe like a really strong fighting type. I don't know, like it gets moves. It is really nice and slow, so that they don't really have to speed creep anything. I can just invest my EVs and IVs however I like, and that's pretty nice. And yeah, I think like a grass typing kind of synergize as well with the rest of the squad. Like you can see some common weaknesses, but I think they're also patched up by the initial kind of core that has been going on. Right, so moving on, we have Vivian. I don't really know how to pronounce this one, to be honest, but it's going to be our first Z user, and it's really potent bomb. It's basically a budget Volcarona in my opinion. It just goes in, it puts something to sleep if need be, and then I can proceed to quiver and kind of destroy hopes and dreams. Z moves are really going to be clutch, I think, with Vivian, because I don't know, the Z Hurricane is definitely going to do a lot. Compound Eyes is a fantastic ability to kind of spam Hurricane with, and not really needing to like worry about missing, because that's a bit of a theme for me and my games, like missing moves. And yeah, it gets the standard bug flank coverage. I think it gets like 3 meter for Z move potential. It gets psychic, it gets all kinds of nice coverage moves, energy ball, calm mind, even if I don't want to boost my speed for some reason. I don't know why. Actually, I might have an idea why, but we'll go into this a bit later. Even has U-turn if I want some cheeky momentum going on. So yeah, it's there. It's pretty cheap for what it offers, and I think it's going to go decently well with the rest of the squad. Next up, we have Claydol. Now, I know what you're thinking. Claydol is not a fantastic mon in any kind of format, and it's basically just a meme, and you're just memeing so hard. Pip, why are you doing this? What are you trying to accomplish with this? But yeah, I think the Z moves kind of give Claydol a really nice edge, as it gets a really huge, really expansive move pool that can be utilized for Z moves. It can be both physical and special. It has a lot of support Z moves. It is arguably the best spinner in the game, as it doesn't take any damage from spikes. It doesn't get slower by sticky web. It resists rocks. Yeah, I think that's it. I suppose ghost types kind of have a free switch in, because they spin block and they threaten out with superior typing. Possibly, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, you can kind of see what kind of moves this thing gets. It has such a wide move pool, and everything is pretty usable if boosted or played appropriately. And I hope to showcase that Claydol is not that piece of garbage that everybody thinks it is. Now, moving on, we have Toxicroak, and we reach a point in this draft in which I kind of wanted to get a water absorb mon. Thing is, Ethan got Seismitoad early on, not early on, like with his sixth pick rather. Evelyn got Jellicent, Patrick got Gastrodon. All of these options were considered, but you know, I kind of needed a water immunity because, spoilers, you'll see what's coming up next. So yeah, I went with Toxicroak, and you know, I'm not really looking back. It's a really nice mixed attacker. It has a lot of setup options. It has a really cheeky poison fighting typing, which, you know, it's quite weak to psychic, but I really don't struggle with psychic type attacks in this squad. And yeah, it has the dry skin and even the poison touch if I want to be, you know, haxy, being a hax lord like I try to be and sometimes manage to. But mainly it's there for the dry skin, as it kind of protects the next pick, which is going to be Mega Camerupt, and I kind of wanted to draft this for a long time because I think it's really underpriced for what it offers. Like at 5 million, arguably there are many better megas, and especially in draft format, having a slow mon with a quad weakness to decently common typing is not ideal. But I think Mamoswine, what? Not yet. But I think Mega Camerupt is powerhouse, and if you can see, there's a bit of a theme going on with my mons. We have some slow mons that kind of can form a bit of a trick room squad, and you know, even without trick room I can run it like a rock polish set, and with a sheer force it does a lot of damage to a lot of things, and the typing is really good offensively. Like defensively it just doesn't really work, and especially with a pretty bulky Pokemon, it's kind of sad that it's kind of getting wrecked by water type attacks, but it's alright. Maybe I'll force someone to run HP water on things, and then I can capitalize with Toxicroak or like Keldeo or like Ferrothorn or whatever, and you know, we can go from there. Obviously Earth Power and Fire Blast are going to be the moves of choice, but it does have a really nice physical move pool as well, and a really nice 120 attack stat to kind of go along with it. So, you know, we'll see how we're going to do with this mon, and yeah. Now, moving on, at this point of the draft I had a lot of points to spend. Everybody else has kind of spent all of their points, but I had a staggering 17 points to spend. And the things that kind of costed 17 points that were available at the moment, I think the only thing was Thunderous Eye, which, you know, it's a really good mon, but I think Magnezone kind of covers my electric needs, at least for a moment. So I decided to go with the Gentleman's round 10 Mamoswine. Now, how did this thing not go how did this thing go undrafted? Is this a structure of a sentence that we're... Whatever. Mamoswine is fantastic. It is really useful in leagues because people tend to go over these, you know, steel, fairy, dragon kind of cores that Mamoswine kind of wrecks. It has fantastic offensive typing, really nice priority, which, you know, I had Toxicroak I suppose, but it gives me some really good and useful priority. With Ice Shard, it is really strong. It can use a band, it can use a scarf, it can use other items I suppose as well. It gets a decent move pool, it gets rocks, as many other things do actually, but you know, it gives me options. It gives me some really punchy presence to the squad, and you know, it kind of helps with things being physical and things being special, and having a good variety of and a good balance of offensive prowess in the draft. Right, so this left me with one spare point, and I was already getting a main pick that was going to be Clampel. But I thought Clampel is not really going to utilize the Z moves that come with the meme status, so I decided to just draft it before the actual meme pick, as Deep Sea Tooth is what makes Clampel slightly okay. Like, I'm not going to pretend that it's a fantastic mon, but it can definitely be useful. It gets Cell Smash. I think with Deep Sea Tooth. It reaches insane special attack levels. I think it's kind of like, I think it's higher than Lyphob, Latios, or like, I think it's on par with CF4's Mega Camerupt moves. It's pretty nice, to be honest. I enjoy things that hit hard. It is pretty slow, so it can kind of work with the Trick Room concept as well. As you can see, my squad is kind of divided into two parts, like the proper OU kind of oriented team, and then the Trick Room portion of it, which they are really potent mons, but really slow and kind of frail, and they could really utilize the lack of speed to their advantage using Trick Room with either like Claydol, Clefable, and possibly my last pick and my meme pick, Yamask. Now, my draft kind of lacked a dark type, which I tried to address in my meme pick, but not many good dark types were around. I think Alolan Meowth was a consideration, but Jabbas can actually be pretty good with a Eviolite. It can kind of utilize the Z crystal as the Z crystals as well. It is fairly bulky. Like the 85 defense with the Eviolite is actually pretty respectable for a Pokemon in general. Coupled with the 38 base HP, it's not really great, but can definitely do stuff. It gets Calm Mind, so maybe with the boosted defenses and special defense, we can get some cheeky Yamask action going on. It spin blocks to an extent because my team is kind of hazard stacking intensive in a way, I guess. It gets a lot of really nice moves. Not the most usable special attack stat, but you know what, 55, it's not too bad. It can kind of work in some situations, like it's not going to punch any big holes, but maybe it can help out with things. It has Memento, and Sea Memento can be really useful. It has Toxic Spikes, Trick, Will-O-Wisp, all of these pretty useful moves to have on one. Gets Guard Split, I suppose, and I don't even know what it does. But you know, it could be beneficial to have on a team, and hopefully I'll bring it once or twice, or I don't know, more times, depending on the matchups. Now, I think that's it. Like, I went over every mon. Every mon has kind of a role in this team. I'm pretty happy with what I drafted. It's not as memey as the last season, but I think it's also quite versatile. It is quite innovative, I suppose, because I'm using mons that are not like, okay, the top part is just proven league quality mons, but like Vivian, Claydol, Mega Camerupt, these are things that people usually shy away from, and I think it's a good opportunity to kind of try some new things. I don't think that I'm going to be winning any leagues, like, you know me, you know what I do. But it's nice to just be there, have fun. You can see we have a lot of great games coming up. I haven't played any at the time of recording, which is pretty nice, because I don't know, I don't spoil things by saying stuff that already happened in my draft analysis. The nicknames, I went with things like they're not going to be constant nicknames. I'll change them depending on the matchup, depending on how I feel on the week that I'm playing. If there's like a theme or a video idea that could be using different nicknames, I'm happy to go with them. I suppose we can quickly go and explain them if the video, like, I don't think the video is too long, so we can do that. Clefable is either going to be Nonk, shout out to Shroom Raver for this wonderful Nuzlocke that he did on Twitch. It was really enjoyable. It was a really good way to spend my summer nights. Or Super Blob for 11, which is a reference to one of my favorite people in general, Nick, aka Superblah. Now Latios, I think I went with blue foundation because it's blue, and it goes with Claydol because Claydol is Eyes on Fire, and it's like the one dubstep song that everybody uses. And Blue Foundation, I think, is the band that created the original song that got remixed for the dubstep version. Whatever, I'll give Latios some nice and more elaborate nicknames as the season goes on. Magnezone is called Decision Time. It's a reference that only I'm going to get because there's a Bombay Bicycle Club song that is called Magnet, and it goes like, now it's decision time, and you know, with magnet pull and sturdy and analytic being things, it kind of forces decisions, so whatever, it's a name. Keldeo is called 1 tablespoon. Shout out to Gary for the 1 tablespoon of horsebone kind of memes that went on in early 2016. Ferrothorn is called Barbadov because, you know, we have to have a Barbadov kind of reference in the team every season. Vivian is called Slip Twitch because Edito's song My Papillon Vivian, it kicks like a slip twitch. Get it? Yeah, nice. We went over Claydol. Toxicroak is called Ranocchia because Ranocchia means frog in Italian, and it's also a football player that I kind of like. So I guess football and Italian references and fun. Mega Camrupt is called Damien Rice, or O, because Damien Rice had this song called Volcano, which is probably my favorite song of his. And I don't know, nicknames. Mamoswine is pigs in space. Fairly explicatory, I don't know. Clampel is called Poseidon because I ran out of imagination. And Jabbas is called Mamoru, or however you pronounce it, because it's the tuxedo mask kind of guy from Sailor Moon, and anime references, yay! Right, so that was my draft analysis. I'm not really happy with it, but I think it was concise enough. I think it gave you some insight without really revealing too much of what I'm going to do in the season, because I think the main people who are going to watch this are going to be people that I'm going to play against, so yeah. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hopefully I'll be uploading my games, but I'm not really guaranteeing anything. We're going to be doing the power rankings with Ethan and Patrick, aka Erasmus and Israeli Donut, respectively. So this will probably go up on Ethan's channel, so look out for that. I'll probably include links to all of the coaches in the description. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.